tribes, relying on cooperation rather than mass settlement. By the mid-1700s, these competing empires were on a collision course. In 1754, fighting broke out over control of North America. The conflict became known as the French and Indian War, part of a much larger global struggle called the 7 Years' War. On one side were the French and their Native American allies. On the other were the British colonies, backed by the full power of the British Empire. The odds were uneven. New France had a population of only 60,000. The British colonies had over 1 million. After years of fighting, Britain emerged victorious. France was forced to give up Canada and most of its North American possessions. Britain now controlled an enormous empire, but it came at a terrible cost. The war had drained British finances, and the government looked to the colonies to help pay the bill. New taxes were imposed. Stamps, duties, and trade restrictions followed. To British officials, this was reasonable. The colonies had benefited from British protection, so they should help cover the expenses. To the colonists, it felt like betrayal. They had no representatives in Parliament. They had no voice in how the taxes were imposed. The slogan, "No taxation without representation," captured a growing sense of injustice. Protests turned into clashes. Clashes turned into open rebellion. On July 4, 1776, 13 colonies declared their independence from Great Britain. But declaring independence and winning it were two very different things. The American Revolutionary War dragged on for 5 brutal years. The colonists were outmatched in training, equipment, and experience. What they lacked in resources, they made up for determination and help from Britain's enemies. France, eager for revenge, provided money, troops, and naval support. In 1781, British forces surrendered at Yorktown. 2 years later, Britain formally recognized the independence of the United States. Yet freedom brought new challenges. The government formed under the Articles of Confederation was weak and ineffective. The states acted like independent countries, arguing, competing, and refusing to cooperate. The nation was on the brink of collapse. Recognizing the danger, American leaders gathered to write a new constitution. The result was a revolutionary system of government that balanced power between federal and state authorities while protecting